7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now here are your hosts, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
People say, it's not all about winning. It's about having fun. Well, the fun's in winning. So, yeah, of course, it's a little bit more spirited when you get a win. And they were a good team.
Well, I think we have an opportunity, certainly. I think this is my 7th year at Clemson, and I would say it's the deepest ACC I've seen. I think if you ask probably 13 coaches right now, 13 out of the 15 think they have enough talent, experience to make an NCAA tournament.
All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. God, it's good to be back in downtown Columbia after being in Charlotte. Charlotte, it's like a baby Atlanta, except it's all grown up now with the traffic. I mean, good gracious. You have to leave to get out of Charlotte to get back to Columbia without going bumper to bumper. You truly have to get out about 3:30. Anything after 3:30, 3:45, it is bumper to bumper for about 15 miles getting out of the 77 corridor.
What time did you get out of there?
About 4 o'clock. And I knew it was going to be tough.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to be tough.
When I was there for the ACC kickoff, I left around 4:30, and I was racing back here. You were on vacation.
Yeah.
I think. I made it here just after 6.
Yeah.
But it was
anything after 4 o'clock, you are going to have to take it easy. Of course, it's coming into Columbia on 277, going out of town. I was coming in, not a problem, but the folks going out of town on 277, glad you're listening to us. A lot of traffic out there. Backed up bumper to bumper. So take your time, sit back, enjoy Sports Talk as we take you through a great Wednesday night. Like I said, just back in from Charlotte, had a terrific day at ACC Media Day because, the ACC is king in basketball. When you can sit there, and it was very low-key, laid back. And if I wanted to, I could have done one-on-ones with any of the coaches in the league. But we're so busy with football, and we're just not basketball heavy right now. So I didn't waste anybody's time, not theirs, not mine. Could have had Krzyzewski, could have had Roy Williams, could have had Boeheim, could have had Pitino, all Hall of Fame coaches. When you're top-loaded with coaches like that and powerhouse programs like that, that's why the ACC is king and why it's tough for a program like Clemson with its top 3 returning starters and a standout NBA player in Jerron Blossom game. You would think, that you would get more respect, but upward mobility is tough. The poll came out just a little while ago, and of course, take your choice, Duke or North Carolina. Who's it going to be, number 1, or Louisville or Virginia? Well, it's Duke this time. 85 first-place votes. North Carolina finished second in the preseason voting, followed by Virginia, Louisville, and Syracuse. How are you going to crack that top 5? Unless they all go on probation, which is entirely possible in the ACC.
I don't know.
6 is NC State, followed by Notre Dame, Florida State, Miami, and Virginia Tech. Clemson did not make the top 10 in the poll. They're number 11, followed by Pittsburgh, Wake, Georgia Tech, and Boston College. That's your ACC preseason poll. The highest Clemson has ever been picked in the preseason in the ACC is 3rd.
Right.
So, no big surprise there. Heck, South Carolina, I was looking at the history of the polls going back to 1970. And in 1970, USC was picked first, but finished second.
Oh, they got it wrong.
Is that right? Let me think. Yeah. And then the next year they were picked second and finished first. Or if I got that backwards, whatever the case may be, at least once they were picked first.
So South Carolina should pick to win the ACC more than Clemson.
Yes.
It didn't matter because you had to win the tournament.
Right. That was the only way to the NCAA back then was through the tournament.
Here's the problem. Clemson's better than the 11th best team.
I think so.
ACC.
Now, the question is they got some inside concerns, as Brownell touched on today.
Yeah. But they have their leading 3 scorers back. They have one of the best players in the league and Blossom game. They're gonna bring their defense.
If Sidi Jete gets into foul trouble, they're gonna be hurting. They've got legend Robertson ready to go in behind him, but
they have the 2 transfers that are available now.
Thomas will be available in December.
Yeah, they're going to be
in time for the USC game.
This is a team that last year beat Notre Dame, beat Louisville, beat Duke, beat Miami, beat Florida State, beat Virginia Tech, beat
they
all
won
these
10
teams
league games
that were, and they've only had one losing record in the league in the past 6 years, and that's the ACC.
Yeah.
I mean, Clemson, what happens this time of year, and we're all guilty of it in the media, in the preseason, especially with basketball. You're in football mode. You go in there. Okay, well, I got to fill up my poll. Okay, well, I'm going to put Duke #1, North Carolina. You're going to put the Blue Bloods, Louisville, Virginia. But then you go down like Clemson. Oh, yeah, they're going to be down. You're working to bottom up with Clemson. The same thing happens with South Carolina. They're fighting perception every year. No one's really looking at how many starters they have back.
Because they don't get the players that get all the hype by the recruiting services. They have to recruit and develop. Blossom Game, as Brad said today, he was like the 4th best player on his AAU team when Clemson got him. But I tell you what, they love Shelton Mitchell. They love Marquise Reed. They're going to be big-time contributors. Holmes has had a good offseason. Like I said, Thomas will become eligible. He'll help in the middle. He thinks Roperton's going to play a lot and play well. And then you got, Grantham game, give them a terrific pair of wings.
Well, the interesting thing about it is, and I think Brad Brunell probably has thought about this because I think he probably had to do it at Wright State and UNC Wilmington, is Blossom Game playing at the 4 or 5, you go small and pull that big guy out because Blossom Game can hit from 15 to 18 feet. So there are some teams that Clemson can be very successful in going small. Ask North Carolina what a quote-unquote small Villanova team did to them in the national championship game.
Absolutely. I got to give you the highlight of the day for the Corn. So we finish up with the Brad Brownell. And I'm going to go back and finish writing up my stories. But I had to go to the men's room. It's been a long day.
I like where this story's going.
I had to go to the men's room. And so we're at the Ritz-Carlton. We're at the Ritz-Carlton, so it's a very nice men's room. Okay, I'm telling you, I could live in that men's room.
Okay,
don't take that the wrong way, but it's like a hotel suite in there. So you go in there, and it got several different little places that gentlemen can go to.
Right.
So I'm in there. I walk in. I'm the only one in there. And a few seconds later, somebody else walked in. I didn't pay any attention to it. He went over to the spot about 5-7 feet away from me to the left. Didn't pay any attention to it. After a few more seconds,
So you're standing. You're not at the porcelain throne sitting at this point.
Let's don't get too descriptive, okay? I'm on my feet, okay?
I'm already envisioning you in a bathroom. I'm just trying to paint the picture
I'm
here.
on my feet, okay?
Okay, you're standing up. Thankfully.
Very nice porcelain urinals. Yeah, okay. Very nice. Yeah. The modern type. You don't have to flush them they just do their thing. So anyway, I look to my left and it's Mike Krzyzewski over there.
Coach K,
taking care of his business.
So you weren't following the elevator rule, clearly.
Which is?
You're only supposed to look up and down in the bathroom. Men's bathroom at the urinal.
I didn't know that was
called the elevator rule. You're not supposed to be looking to your left. Or your right.
I was not aware of that
You're
rule.
supposed to be like a kicker. You just look down.
So anyway, I did most of the time. I wasn't bothering him, and he wasn't bothering me. And so Brad Brownell then walks in. Right about the time I'm about to turn and head out, he walks in. He goes, "Oh, got a bunch of coaches in here," referring to Krzyzewski, and of course I'm standing in there too. And Krzyzewski said something, and I said, I should take a picture while we're in here. I said I would take a picture. I said, but I just don't think it's appropriate. And he said, yeah, probably not. Probably not a good idea.
Not a good place to take a
picture. And then I said, especially here in a bathroom in the state of North Carolina, it's probably not a good idea either. He kind of chuckled at that and agreed as well. And then we went on about our merry way.
Then he called security. And now there's a reason why he's not doing the show from the ACC tip-off.
We went on about, that's a better conversation that I ever had with Dean Smith, who once called me Mr. Recruiter. That's the only conversation I ever had with him, because I asked him a recruiting question one time back in the 80s. He followed me at a water fountain. He goes, "Oh, you're the recruiting guy."
Mr. Recruiter.
That's the extent of my conversation with the late great Dean Smith.
Iturbe.
This is before Iturbe ever happened. Anyway, that was the highlight of my day. Besides getting to listen to the coaches, we'll bring you some Brad Brownell coming up here on the program. Of course, we're going to get into football right away here. USC, Tennessee coming up. Clemson, Florida State coming up. The M&M boys, recruiting, and your phone calls. We'll be right back. By the way, was talking to our good friend, Ron Morris, formerly of the state newspaper, now with the city of Columbia, about Columbia getting a basketball regional. The announcement December 8th. That's when the NCAA announces the sites for, 19, 20, 21. And he's fully confident that Columbia is going to get a regional for one of those years. And maybe sooner than you think, maybe like the 19 season. We'll wait and see on that. But certainly good news for our state, with Greenville already having one and pursuing others, and Columbia now looking firmly in place to be able to land one of those. Yeah, that's why we go to these things. That's why we go to the football games and make the effort to be in the press box and be in the post-game interviews, and we go to the press conferences and these media days. You never know what's going to happen. I mean, how many people can say that they've been in the men's room at the Ritz-Carlton at the same time as Mike Krzyzewski? Okay, that's
sure that was
that's a
lifetime
lifetime
experience for
a little
Coach
bit
K.
too much. I don't need no.
That's a lifetime achievement award right there, in my opinion. Well, I mean, listen, he is. I mean, he is the world's premier basketball coach. Huh? Would you argue that he's not?
Mike Krzyzewski?
Yeah.
The world's premier?
The world's premier
if you could have
basketball
any coach in the world, would Mike Krzyzewski be your first choice? He would be up there.
I think it's a no-brainer.
Yeah,
Olympic champion,
I would either go
NCAA
with
champion,
him or Pops would be the two.
Well, Pops replacing him as the Olympic coach, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, Pops is hard to beat too, no question. But Krzyzewski, for my money, and he was talking today to the media about what he learned from LeBron and Kobe and the NBA guys that he's worked with. You know, how he picked up things from them, and and whatever it was he taught them. I'm not sure he could teach them a bunch of X's and O's, but he could teach them some other things. All right, so again, Clemson preseason picked number 11 in the ACC preseason poll by the media. Duke gets the tab at number 1. Our phone number, and we got some lines now open for you. First in on the phone lines will be first up on Sports Talk tonight. Who doesn't want to be first on Sports Talk? 800-956-7266 is the number. Email talkback at sportstalksc.com, and on Twitter at SportsTalkSC. Oh, okay, yeah. Were you on the air just then, Jarmard? Just talking to me. He was not on the air. Okay. So Jarmard has reminded me to remind you about, of course, the most talked about phone line in America, our What the Phone Line. that you can call to leave your comments, your questions, your observations, any time of the day or night, any weekend that you're at a ball game. You hear something, you see something, you know something, you want to pass it along to us that we can play on the air. That number is 803-509-2705. The way you remember that, of course, is 803 is our area code.
Mm-hmm.
And 5 is Jeff Bodine's old number. And 09 would be Bill Elliott's old number if you put a 0 in front of it. And then 27, Raymond Priester. And then 05 again would be Jeff Bodine with
So are you going to make any references for people that were born after
No, I'm
1985?
not. I am not. No.
If
you need to look up
we would
Jeff
like to
Bodine.
target a younger demo on this show, Corn.
All right, well, okay, I take that back.
All right.
Casey Kane is number 5. So he could be the 5.
Can we have any non-NASCAR references for people that maybe
I mean,
are
NASCAR,
into
that's how
other
NASCAR
sports?
fans count. 1, 2, Earnhart, 4, 5. That's how they count. So I'm just trying to – we have a large NASCAR audience. I'm trying to relate them too.
Yeah.
803-51705. Or we could do it this way. 803, then my age 50.
You're 50?
Then K-Mac's age 9.
You're really getting up there,
And
dude.
then Jarmart's age 27. And then Pro's age 50, but backwards, 05.
Okay.
Does that work?
I actually know the phone number,
You know the number?
but now I'm confused. I don't know that I remember it anymore.
All right, let's get to the phone calls. 800-956-7266. Is there anything you want to mention news-wise before we move forward?
News-wise,
Anything big?
before we move forward. No, we mentioned the polls. Everything else we can dabble through later.
Okay, lines. Love to hear what folks have on their mind tonight. Maybe a little college basketball. Of course, the focus on USC, Tennessee, Clemson, Florida State. We'll be hearing from Clemson tonight and USC's big tackle Mason Zandy. We go to Allen, North Augusta. I'm sorry, in Rock Hill. Whew, just came through there.
Ooh.
Hope you're down the with us.
Good. How you doing?
Good, man.
Two things. Talking about going to the bathroom and seeing somebody you know. It wasn't a coach, but about 4 or 5 years ago, I was in the Cracker Barrel in Rock Hill, and the kicker from the Panthers, John Casey, was in there.
Oh.
Standing right beside me.
Did you say anything to him?
I did. A little uncomfortable at the time, but yeah, I did talk to him.
Yeah,
I'm afraid to ask what you said.
It can be a tough place to start a conversation.
It's good.
It's good. Did you say it's good?
Oh,
Did you
boy.
watch to see if he was like right down the middle?
Oh, my goodness. Hey, a little wide right there, John. A little wide right.
As long as you don't hit the crossbar, you're all right.
That's great. And that's a lasting memory for you, huh?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Very
The
great
other
Panthers.
the other thing I was asking was, make sure I heard it right on the first of the show. Were you talking about what? I guess one of the coaches was talking about UMass being a good team playing against South Carolina last week. Was that true?
Well, that was Mason Zandy, and that was a little hyperbole, I think. But if you're South Carolina, look, you've been struggling. The offense scored 30-plus points for the first time since the 2014 season. I don't blame them one bit for trying to be positive and feel good this week. They need to feel good. They matched their win total from a year ago. They should, barring a epic collapse, surpass that number. So, hey, they're just trying to be positive at this point.
I wouldn't build up UMass too much. I think they've only won one game, two
Yeah,
games.
he said that right after. I know they're 1-6.
But they played some teams
Yeah,
tough
they
now.
have. They
Yeah.
have.
They played Florida. They are what they are. They're
You are what your record
FBS.
says you are.
Louisiana,
They're an
Louisiana
FBS.
Monroe or Louisiana Tech last week 4.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
yeah.
They're not.
I mean, they're an FBS program stuck in the Northeast, an FBS independent stuck in the Northeast where nobody cares. I mean, nobody cares about Boston College right now. What was funny was, of course, they haven't won an ACC basketball game in a while either. So Brad finishes up, and we're walking out.
This isn't in the bathroom, right?
No.
Okay.
This is in the
We moved
interview
out of
room.
the bathroom.
No, we're finished with that
We're out of the
story, okay?
bathroom.
And we're walking out of the interview room, and there weren't all that many in there to talk to him, but there were some. And Jim Christian's walking in, and other reporters are walking out. And he's like, okay, I'll give you guys a few minutes to clear out of here before I I go up there, and he says, I'll get my mom to call in to ask a question if I need to. The point is, nobody cared about Boston
College. BC basketball and BC football have not won a game in, 2 years? I mean, the basketball team went over. The football team still hasn't won an ACC game.
Been a while. All right, back to the phones. Tim in Rock Hill is with us next. Hi, Tim. Welcome into Sports Talk.
Hey, Phil. How you doing?
Good.
Hey, listen, I know how you feel about being in the same restroom with Coach K. About 10 years back, I was going through Raleigh-Durham Airport, went to the restroom, and lo and behold, who'd I end up standing beside? Coach K. So I know how you feel. It's like being in the presence of royalty, isn't it?
It is. That's really kind of how I felt. Did you talk to him?
No, we kind of looked at each other and gave that little nod because, we were busy.
Right. I understand.
Yeah.
So we gave each other a little nod, and that was it. But I was kind of scared. I was too nervous to do anything. But everything came out all right, and I got that story, and I identify with you, buddy.
Hey, it was quite a thrill. Kind of sent a chill up and down the leg. Who was that television announcer talking about Obama that way? That Chris Matthews? I had the kind of similar chill. Here's my question. Now, I'm wondering
he wasn't in a bathroom when he had that chill.
When Krzyzewski gets home tonight, is he going to tell Mrs. Krzyzewski who he was in the restroom with?
I hate to tell you what that was running down your leg. It wasn't a chill.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
It did feel – it was warmer than a chill.
I was wondering what that.
All right, we'll hit a break and back with more. The M&M Boys coming up.
The big guys are up next. Corey Miller and Will Merritt. It's the M&M Boys. This is Sports Talk.
Welcome back in Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network, here on a Wednesday night, hump day night. As we get through this week, head down towards a very exciting weekend of football. And, of course, we've got the World Series going on, Game 2 tonight. Indians out in front, 1-0. We got NASCAR this weekend at Martinsville, so much to look forward to. But right now the focus turns to the Gamecocks and the Tigers and their big football games coming up this weekend. We have got Corey Miller with us, former USC standout linebacker and really one of the New York Giants' all-time great linebackers, who has now become one of South Carolina's top television sportscasters, dominating the ratings, just blowing away the competition in every possible way.
Wow. What?
Well, I mean, you were upset with me last week, so I thought I'd pile on this week.
Oh, you're kissing up.
Too much overkill, you know what I mean? But I wish you would just say, well, just one of the outstanding, great citizens in Columbia, South Carolina.
Well, that works too. The pastor of pain, that works too. We have not hooked up with Will yet, so right now you're flying solo. Can you handle it?
Hey, bring it on, baby. Let's do it.
We'll have to play the role of Will here.
Yeah, I just need to cut Corey off and
try and talk over
say
him.
he's crazy.
Yeah. Don't know what.
Tell me I'm not humble and all that stuff.
Yeah. We're still trying to reach him, so we'll try to get him to us here during the segment. But let's go ahead and talk with you. And, well, what'd you think of round one with Jake Bentley?
Kind of what I really expected. Defense is one of the worst in college football, and I knew he could throw the football. I knew he was a smart kid. Looks good in uniform. Looks like a college SEC. Made a couple of nice touchdown throws, over-the-shoulder throws, and I was very impressed by that. And you could tell he had some command as well in the huddle. That comes with a lot of film study and knowing what you're doing. You always feel comfortable going in the classroom when you have studies for a test. He didn't have that anxious, worried look because he felt comfortable in what he was doing out there. So I knew that was who he was. But I think, this week, of course, is going to be the big test for me. I give him an incomplete just because of the team they played. But good SEC defensive line, good secondary guys, great speed. The big moment on national television. It
looked to me that they kept the passing game plan pretty simple for him, with simple routes where he didn't really have to read defenses a lot and just go out and throw the ball to a particular spot to a particular receiver. And did you see it that way as well, or am I missing something there?
I think, that's smart. I mean, you don't want to give him too much and make him too much on the football field. You want the reaction. You want him to snap it and get rid of it. I know there's a lot of screens, hitch routes, things that I've really been talking about with McElwain, just those types of safe throws. And, when you get in the red zone, take some shots to your big wide receivers, in which they did. And so they want to protect that. Now, this week you're going to see something a lot different because the defensive coordinator is going to force him to make tough throws. They're going to pack the box and they're going to feel like they can shut those guys down on the outside. So things are going to be different for him this week. But there's no doubt he's the future of South Carolina football as quarterback is concerned. I mean, it don't take much to see that he has all the tools. But when it becomes a thinking man game and you got to think yourself through things, when you got to throw a receiver open, that's going to be covered. That's another thing I'm looking to see. Can you make that throw him open even? Those types of things I'm looking to see. Can he do it right now? But I think when you're looking ahead in the future, if you're a Carolina fan, you're going, hey, I like what I see with his arm, but still, again, it's hard to judge based on who they played last week.
Sure.
Well, it's interesting, Corey, when you looked at South Carolina, and it's almost like a pitcher on the mound that knows his offense is not going to give him but 1 or 2 runs. And so they really buckle down and try to measure every pitch. South Carolina's defense, for the most part, even against the most strong competition have held their own. Then suddenly it seems that they couldn't handle the lead, and then it just busted a lot of coverages last Saturday.
Yeah, I was shocked by that. I really thought they would play much better. In the first half, UMass position South Carolina did, and UMass was backed up, and I thought they really just take advantage of that. Then they gave up big plays, and you can't do that. I don't know if they just let the guard down. They were motivated because of who it was. They played pretty good most of the year. You look at where they're ranked, somewhere in the middle of the pack in the SEC, defensively speaking, somewhere in the middle of the pack in the FBS. So, I don't know. It's one of the things where they got to play much better against Josh Dobbs and this offense of Tennessee this week. You got to stop the run. You got to stop the running quarterback. They got weapons on the outside. So they're going to be tested defensively this week. So they better get it right. Whatever the situation they had last week, they better correct it real fast, or else this will be a blowout if they don't play well.
Visiting with Corey Miller, one half of the M&M boys. Maybe Will's thinking since the Tigers were off that he would be off tonight. We're just not able to catch up with him. So we'll continue with Corey. Going back to the situation. So you firmly believe Bentley is the future, and I'm sure with McElwain, that doesn't sound good to him or his mom. How do you handle that as the head coach with Will Muschamp? If indeed that's the case, if it's Bentley's job moving forward, how do you keep a McElwain involved, interested, and part of your program?
Well, I think we saw some of it last week. They brought goal line situations, red zone situations, and letting them run the zone read. But, honestly, I didn't like that because I think they are devaluing this kid's potential. I really do. I said Bentley's the future just because that's who they're going to go with. They've made up their mind already. That's their future. I'm not saying it because that's who I would choose if I was coaching. But, they're going to try to sprinkle him in there here, to give him some reps, maybe to keep him happy, keep mom and dad happy. But that's not going to be good enough at the end of the day because I think, honestly, what happens, Phil, in recruiting, he's covered it for a long time. Things are promised, things are said, and then a lot of these things are not carried out. So, I'm that same guy, too, that I would have moved Lorenzo Nunez from quarterback. I mean, he's an athlete with potential. I mean, I'm saying I don't think you're going to keep him happy. I've already heard some scuttlebutt out there about him going to play for Trent. I mean, that's already out there.
Mm-hmm.
So, because kids want to play. You can play one quarterback. If it's linebacker, offensive line, there's other positions you can stick in there. But at quarterback, there's only one. So, how you going to keep those guys happy, I don't know. But I don't really blame them at this point because I don't think they gave him the fair shot of really putting that offense in place that really support his skill set. And to me, that wasn't fair.
Well, his mama sure ain't happy. At least she wasn't last week. Corey, the offense, I know they have a lot of young guys. I know they're breaking in new guys. You kind of touched on this, but I went back and read an old article that after the loss against South Carolina when Muschamp was at Florida, how people were just knocking him for being too conservative, that had enough, and they wanted a change. And is he running into some of the same stuff where he's a little too conservative even now at South Carolina with that offense, despite all of their shortcomings? Does he need to open things up a little bit as a head coach?
I agree. Open it up. What do you got to lose? I mean, you got some pieces. I mean, utilize those guys. I mean, some trickeration, do some crazy stuff offensively. Really go tempo. I'm with you on that because, he's of the mindset, kind of like Coach Saban used to be, and I keep, using this analogy, guys, because I'm around that program a lot too. But Coach Saban was just run the football, right? Play great defense. It's okay to punt. We're going to play behind our defense. Offense, let's just be methodical in our approach. And now that gets you beat now. And he had to change. Look what he's done with an offense. You got to open it up. You got to take shots out the field. You got to run jet sweeps and reverses and things like that. You got to do some things that take advantage of the athletes that you do have and try to really get those guys out and make big plays. And it's really conservative right now, and it's really kind of fun to watch. It really is. You just got to get things rolling. I think you got guys that you can utilize. You got athletes. Get them to football. Find ways to get those athletes to football.
All right, hang on, Pastor. Hang on. We'll come right back to you in just a moment. Back we are, Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network, presented by South Carolina soybean farmers and their checkoff. Learn more at scsoybeans.org. Pork, powered by soy. The pastor of Payne, Corey Miller, visiting with us here on Sports Talk. So before we turn to Clemson and a little Alabama, you see a path to victory for the Gamecocks Saturday night.
You know, I know Coach Muschamp alluded to how close those games have been, and they really have over the past few years. But I just don't see it this year. I think this is a 14 to 17 point victory by Tennessee. I think the spread out, someone told me it's around 10, but I just don't see the Gamecocks hanging close. I saw Tennessee in person against Alabama a few weeks ago. I know they got beat down pretty bad, but still they have pieces out there. They have athletes. The defensive line is really good. They got safeties and corners that can play. I know they've been hurt at the linebacker position. But Kamara, the running back, is he going to play? I know one of them is kind of banged up.
He's out.
Now, that's good news for South Carolina, because one area I was going to talk about was kickoff returns, where he really kind of hurt Alabama a couple of times. But still, this team's going to be way too good for South Carolina. I just don't see any way they win this football game.
Okay. Now, Will's not here to defend Clemson, so go easy.
He's scared. He was scared. Yeah, because this is the first time in a long time since the challenge was going to come, and he's nervous about this game.
All right, so tell Clemson fans why they should be nervous.
Well, one, you're playing on the road in Tallahassee. By the way, Clemson has won there, I believe, one time since Florida State's been in the ACC. And this team has really gotten better. If you watch Florida State, they have some close games where they're starting to play better defense. The quarterback, the young guy's starting to get right, get his own rhythm going. So they got big play receivers. The offensive line has struggled at times, but the fact that this is a huge game for them, and they need to win this game to have any kind of chance. They beat Clemson and hope maybe Pittsburgh or Wake Forest can sneak one. They can get back into this ACC race. Clemson's been struggling. I mean, I saw a lot in that North Carolina State game physically that North Carolina State dominated the offensive line of Clemson. That's going to be a problem on the road. Their offensive line is going to struggle. Deshaun Watson is going to get hit, and we don't know what's going to be to deal with Wayne Gallman coming off that concussion. Will he run very timid? Is he going to be able to play? If they can't run the ball, Clemson's going to be in big-time trouble. I'm going with the nose in this one.
Surprise. Did you think the hit on Gallman was clean?
And I mean, it was borderline. But it's football, Phil. Come on. I mean, are we crying? Why are they crying? We still talking about this thing. It was borderline. And I mean, they play a little nasty themselves, like Ben Boulware, choking quarterbacks while he's down. I mean, so it's just a part of the game. It was a good hit. Listen, don't think that teams, coaches, and players don't talk about knocking the guy out of the game. It's going to make it easy. It still happens. I mean, I know we're going through the concussions and all of that stuff, but they talk about it. And they want any defensive player or linebacker. You want that knockout blow. And that's just part of the game. And so I don't think it was illegal. I think it was borderline when you look at the targeting thing, maybe. But for me, I thought it was a good hit.
Can you remember going back to Central or USC or the Giants or the Vikings just ever knocking somebody flat out cold?
Terry Allen. South Carolina, we played Clemson, and then I got him again with the Redskins.
You knocked him out twice?
We went at actually the second time I knocked myself out too. So I don't know what that's about, but I went out too. I remember I was getting up to celebrate, and I just fell back down.
Oh my goodness! All right, real quick. I mean, really, with Alabama, in your opinion, is everybody else just playing for the runner-up trophy, the participation trophy?
It looks that way, but again, these are college athletes. A lot of things happen. They lost Eddie Jackson, man, one of the great kids of college football, great player. He's out. They got to make some changes on the back end. Alabama's extremely good, and as I said, I watched a lot of Alabama loses if it's self-inflicted wounds. If they play their B-plus game, I think Alabama can beat anybody in the country by double digits. They're that good. I'm not just saying that because my son's there. I mean, they have a lot of talent, guys. you haven't even seen touch the field yet.
Mm-hmm.
That the field. I mean, it's kind of scary. I mean, it's like an NFL farm team. It really is. And they're well coached. And boy, Lane Kiffin, I know we may not like him, but the guy has done a phenomenal job. Listen, this is the third starting quarterback that haven't played, and look at what this offense is doing. I mean, that says something about a coordinator.
You know, it was interesting. I was listening to CBS, and they asked Lane Kiffin, you know, Alabama has these drop back quarterbacks. He said, well, actually, we saw his dad was his high school coach, and he told us he wanted to learn to be a drop back passer because he wanted to go to the NFL. But, you know, those legs, you got to use them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Very well, and he's a great kid, very smart. And look at Joshua Jacobs, guys, the running back. This is a kid they got right at the end of recruiting. I mean, and look at what he's doing as a true freshman. They got a true freshman at right tackle. I mean, so they got a true freshman quarterback. They got a true freshman running back behind Harris. I mean, they got some kids, and they do a great job with development. But, again, they got to add LSU. I'll be at that game next week. That, to me, is going to be a big test for them.
No question. Okay, Pastor, we appreciate it. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next Wednesday. Hopefully we'll have Will with you next Wednesday.
But not after Clemson loss. He's definitely not coming on.
You don't think so?
After Clemson loss, he won't come on to talk to me now. I mean, he's so nervous. I'm calling you out, Will. Where you at, boy? Watch out for the nose.
All right. Thank you, Corey Miller, pastor of Payne, seen every night on television in Columbia on Watch TV 57. He's hard to miss
now
on television.
Now, the first rankings come out next week.
Tuesday night.
So, see, this is the carrot that Clemson needs. I mean, we've been trying to find that game for this season. They got to get it done in Tallahassee for some style points.
All right, let me jump into recruiting here. First of all, defensive back Jonathan Abram of Jones County Junior College in Mississippi, long a target of USC, told us this afternoon he's no longer considering the Gamecocks. Quote, just didn't feel right. He said he's down to LSU, Alabama, Ole Miss, and Tennessee. Meantime, defensive back Keyshawn Nixon, who's 6 feet 195 at Arizona Western Junior College in Compton, California, he's expecting a call from USC tonight. He described his recruiting activity with the Gamecocks thus far as slow. His offers include Mississippi State, Missouri, Iowa State, Colorado State, Kentucky, Oregon State, and Illinois. He's
straight out of Compton.
Plans to announce his decision on December 17th. He is a freshman with 3 years of eligibility, a mid-year transfer. 2018 receiver Jordan Adams of Blythewood picked up Tuesday an offer from Clemson. We mentioned it last night. His comments on that, it's an exciting offer because it's one that I've been working for and waiting on for a while. I'm still taking everything in and giving everyone a chance. Other offers, USC, Ole Miss, East Carolina, Southern Miss, North Carolina, Tulane, Maryland, and Kentucky. Not team defensive end Xavier Thomas of Wilson, Florida State Saturday. He was at Alabama last weekend. He's also been to Clemson, USC, and Georgia. In basketball, 6'3" David Beatty of Philadelphia and his mom will take an official visit to USC starting on Thursday. He's taken a visit to Georgetown. He is scheduled for Indiana on November the 4th. He says he's a scorer and a shooter, averaged 21 points per game last year. And the coach for 6'4", Clyde Trapp Jr. of Lower Richland, talking to us last night, says man's been telling him that right now Charlotte could be out in front, but he says nothing is solid with that yet. We'll talk more about his situation coming up after the break.
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
We are back at Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Coming up, we'll hear from some Gamecocks and some Tigers and some Brad Brownell as well from the ACC Media Day today. 800-956-7266. The number, if you'd like to chime in. Want to finish the recruiting story on Clyde Trapp Jr. from Lower Richland. So he made an official to USC over the weekend, according to his coach. Caleb really liked the visit to South Carolina. He said Carolina made some strides this weekend. He said that he connected with some players. He liked what he heard from the coaching staff. Being right down the road, of course, is a plus. And he came away impressed and really enjoyed it. And he said Frank Martin laid out his vision for Trapp and the program, and they like his vision. He's a nice-sized guard, has frame where he can bulk up with some muscle, 6'4", 6'5". They really like him at the point position, the coach said, but he can also slide out to shooting guard. They see him with the ball in his hands at certain times. He likes the coaching staff as a whole. He likes Martin. But Charlotte, Mark Price and company, they've been recruiting him for a long time, and they have been regular visitors to his gym to watch him work out. They've built a strong relationship. So the coach said, while nothing is definite, he says, quote, I do think he likes Charlotte, but he hasn't solidified that, into the quote. Trapp's going to take an official to Charlotte this weekend, Georgia Tech the following weekend. He has also been to Rice. Coaches from Georgia Tech and Rice are scheduled to be by the school today. Baseball note, according to DiamondProspects.com, West Ashley High School freshman infielder Vince Smith committed to LSU today. Freshman infielder. Must be pretty good to go ahead and make a decision to go to LSU. There you go with recruiting. We invite you to take a few moments during your busy day and check out our recruiting online on our website, SportsTalkSC.com, and on Twitter. Use the hashtag STRecruiting. All right. Couple of quick notes here for you that I want to mention, or an email I want to get to real quick. This is from Jeff. He goes, Phil, I once stood next to the bass singer for the Oak Ridge Boys. I guess he's talking about in a men's room. If he had hit that low note from Elvira, I'm afraid of what might have happened.
Whoa.
Waiting for my next brush with fame. Thank you there, Jeff. You want to read the tweet from Perry Orth and kind of give us a little background about the tweet he put out there this evening?
See if I can pull it back up again. Really appreciate the heads up on this, Corn. Nice of you.
Live radio, we act quickly here.
Actually,
we move quicker than the Gamecock offense. But you know what? I think they should go tempo. They are awfully slow and deliberate. They come to the line. Now, maybe it's because as freshman quarterbacks, they don't want to rush them. They come to the line, and, they set the lineman down. Then the quarterback stops. He looks over to the sideline to get the play. He goes back and calls the play. There's like 2 seconds left on the play clock.
Want them to go faster.
I think they should do tempo as well.
So they could go 3 and out in record time.
Or maybe 3 and score in record time.
Well, so you think that's the only problem? They just need to go faster.
Oh, I didn't say it's the only problem.
You have a bunch of freshmen. The game's already moving really fast for them. But you know what? We're going to speed it up even more.
Well,
hey, I know this.
Maybe in that way,
Bentley, go faster.
Maybe that way you react instead of think so much.
You better
react.
Well, you better think too. That's why I said that this year, they'll know stuff next year.
Corey Miller said it. I believe it.
Well, here's the interesting thing.
He's knocked people out before.
No, but here's the interesting thing about the whole situation. When you're South Carolina and you say, well, T.J. Holloman is a senior. He's a leader on the team. He can show us, wait a minute. Oh, he's learning the system like we are. See, it's no upperclassmen can teach you the system because they're learning it on the fly just like you are. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, the first year with head coaches, sometimes you can luck out and strike while the iron is hot. But I tell you what, I think you'd rather rather try to slow play this, let guys learn the system, and then you hopefully start to get the talent to start to win. These guys who win right off, and then something goes wrong and the wheels come off, so you gave them too much too soon.
The state newspaper wrote a story on Perry Orth, and the headline was Perry Orth's Parting Gifts, Memories That'll Last a Lifetime. And Perry Orth's response to this story on Twitter was, "Y'all are acting like I died. I appreciate the love, but the season isn't over." It does kind of read like he's dead.
Yeah.
South Carolina football is moving on without Perry Orth, or at least without him on the field.
Now,
the Gamecocks are turning over their quarterback.
Wasn't the Alabama quarterback last year demoted and then worked his way back up, and he was the quarterback in the national championship game, the Florida State transfer?
Yeah, I mean, things can happen. Yeah,
Sure.
Things can happen. All right, back to the phones we go here on Sports Talk, and we're headed to James over in Williston. Hi, James, and welcome to Sports Talk.
Hey, Phil.
Hey.
Is college game day going to be in Tallahassee?
No. They are – where are they this weekend? They are not at Florida State Clemson. They are – oh, gosh.
They're not at the Big Ten, are they?
You've
Michigan.
got Nebraska's playing Wisconsin this week.
Yeah, I don't remember.
That's number 7 against number 11.
Don't keep up with their actions week to week, so I just don't know off the top of my
Unless
head.
they're involved.
Okay.
But we're going to be there. Is that not big enough for you?
We'll find out for you because you deserve to know.
Yeah,
So
K-Mac's going to find
we'll
out
for you.
Okay.
Line on that game.
It was last line I saw was Clemson 4.5. Clemson favored 4.5.
I got and I was with a fellow at work today. He said players should go straight out of high school to the NFL. I told him, I said, no, man, they got to go to college and all. I said, they can't jump in the NFL. But
you were right. You tell that guy he was wrong.
I think there's been one. Remember that defensive lineman out of the state of North Carolina who graduated high school and then he didn't go to college. And I think he might have gone to a prep school or something.
You have to
be
3 years removed or 21 years old.
Well, he might have been older coming out of high school.
Yeah, there's
don't you remember who I'm talking about?
You can't go straight from high school to the NFL.
But I remember the guy who said he went to the University of Mars. Remember, he did play football in college. Remember Otis Sistrunk, defensive end for the Raiders.
Have to go to college, but you do have to be 21 or out of high school for 3 years. And by the way, game day is going to be in Salt Lake City for the Huskies matchup. Washington Huskies against the 17th ranked Utah Utes.
The player I'm thinking of is Eric Swan. Came out of the state of North Carolina. And I'm trying to
became a number 1 pick.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the story on him here. But here's a story. The 5 best players who didn't even go to college.
Otis Sistrunk is one of them.
This is about the 5 best NFL players that avoided the NCAA entirely. I'm waiting for the story to load. It's moving about like
oh, man. It's just awful that you're doing this. Will Muschamp deserves better.
All right. Ray Seals made it to the NFL with stints in minor league football and would play 8 seasons. Eric Swan, this is who I was thinking of.
He was he didn't go straight from high school to the NFL. No one has ever gone
let me
straight
read
from
this
high
story
school
here.
to the
Let me
NFL.
read this story here. One of the
played
reasons
high school football 1 year and played the NFL the next.
The world of football is like the University of Today. And then there's everyone else. And for players like Eric Swan, who was ruled academically ineligible to play for NC State and wound up playing for the now defunct Bay State Titans before being drafted by the Cardinals without playing a single second of college football.
Now, Herschel Walker could have come right out of high school, and the kid at LSU could have come right out of high school.
You know what? There's probably more that could come
Ellis
right
Johnson
out.
said Jadeveon Clowney could have chased the ball out of high school.
But
There's not that guys couldn't have done it.
They've got this mindset, of course, in everybody's head that, the NFL is just too physical for a high school kid to step in there and be able to handle it.
They're probably right.
And it is.
They're probably right.
There might be 5 every year that could do it, if that.
Then let them go. Be right back. And we continue here on a Wednesday edition of Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. It is time for our high school football reports, service of Farm Bureau Insurance. With new auto insurance rates from Farm Bureau Insurance, you could be saving a whole lot of money. Even if you've received a quote before, rates are now more competitive than ever. Get a free quote today from your local Farm Bureau Insurance agent. Want to take a moment here for our Columbia listeners and our Charleston listeners too. First of all, down in Charleston, our great radio station there. Wait a minute, you know what? I think they're doing World Series now, so there's no sense even talking to our Charleston audience. So we'll get back with you another night. Our Columbia audience, I know you're with us. And congratulations on Kevin Cohen, our good friend and participant in the Sports Talk Pick'em Challenge. In fact, I think he's the leader. Coming up on their 3rd anniversary of the announcement. We can't say anything about it here yet. Big announcement coming from Kevin about his station on Friday evening that will impact, of course, his station and directly impact us. And I think you'll like the announcement when it comes. So stay tuned for that. Oh, I forgot to continue with the high school football report. These things happen. My mind just goes in all different directions. Yesterday, I drove halfway to Clemson thinking I had left my computer at home and was fretting the whole way up there.
I would have had to stop immediately.
No, I had to go back roads because I-20 was blocked, and it was throwing me off schedule. So I decided I would wait till I get to the rest area on 385, a wonderful little rest area. Didn't see Mike Krzyzewski there.
Spent half the show talking about bathrooms and rest areas.
My goodness.
And fretted the whole way for over an hour that I had left my laptop at home in my bag, my recording equipment. How am I going to cover this? What am I going to do? And stopped and opened the trunk, and there it was. So I forgot that I had put it in. My thought in my head was I had not put it in, but I just forgot that I had put it in. Okay, more great stories to come, but I want to give you the players of the week in high school football, courtesy of the High School Sports Report. In 5A, it's Jordan Adams of Blythewood. He plays quarterback for them. He'll be a receiver in college. He passed for 326 yards and 3 touchdowns and rushed for a touchdown and a win. 4A player of the week is Cody Boynton of South Aiken. Won the region championship. What a turnaround for South Aiken, the Thoroughbreds. Getting it done. He passed for 312 yards and 6 touchdowns in a win over Airport. They scored 70. 3A player of the week is Braden Hawkins of Dillon, junior quarterback, 250 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. They beat Georgetown, came from behind. AA player of the week is Isaiah Ellis of Chesney, and he passed for 254 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 47 yards rushing and a touchdown. 1A player of the week is Devin Stinson of Cross. He scored touchdowns in 3 different ways in a win over Scotts Branch, punt return, interception return, and he caught a pass for a score. Skis, the player of the week, Nolan Litchfield of Northwood Academy, 26 of 34, 456 yards, and 5 touchdowns in a win over Hilton Head Prep. He also rushed for a touchdown. Congratulations to those players. The players of the week in our high school report brought to you by Farm Bureau Insurance. Now to Brad Brownell, Clemson coach, speaking today at ACC Basketball Media Day. Tigers picked 11th in the preseason poll. Now, the poll came out after these interviews took place. So here is Brad Brownell with his opening remarks and taking some questions from the intrepid media.
Super excited. 17, we have a lot of really positive momentum in our program. For those of you that don't know, we've renovated Little John Coliseum, and we'll be back in there this year after a 1-year hiatus in Greenville. And while Greenville was good to us, it's certainly good to be back in Little John. And we've got a terrific practice facility, the Swan Pavilion, with player lounges and video rooms and just all the things you need to really be successful at this level. So super excited about that. Got a great piece of news last spring with the return of Jerron Blossom game, an all-ACC forward who decided to come back to Clemson for his 5th season. Something I think is really special. Jerron is already a graduate of Clemson, and so I think it speaks a lot to his character and to the fact that he's going to pursue a master's degree this year, and really speaks to his love of Clemson and the time that he's spent there, how much he's enjoyed it. Feels like he has a little bit of unfinished business as a player. Would like to certainly duplicate last season in terms of being all ACC, and then also wants to lead his team to the tournament.
Coach Dan Tortora, Wake Up Call, DT.com. Just what you can say about, obviously, Jerron coming back, a big piece, but not getting to the postseason recently. Just what you can say about what the disconnect was, and if you feel like you have those pieces this year to do so, including with Jerron coming back.
Well, I think we have an opportunity, certainly. I think this is my 7th year at Clemson, and I would say it's the deepest ACC I've seen. I think if you ask probably 13 coaches right now, 13 out of the 15 think they have enough talent, experience to make an NCAA tournament. Hopefully, come March, we'll have 10 or more in the tournament. We have very good backcourt depth. We probably have 5 guys that have good experience. We have a couple of transfers in Shelton Mitchell and Marquise Reed that played as freshmen at Vanderbilt and at Robert Morris that can help us to go along with Avery Holmes and Dante Grantham and Gabe DeVoe. So I feel like that's a real strength. I think we have good talent through 1 through 4. We're a little thin inside at the 5. Sidi Jate is a guy that I'm really proud of because he's a fourth-year senior who has not started yet. He's just waited his turn. That's rare in this day and age of college basketball that guys don't transfer. But he's a hardworking, tough-minded, physical rebounder, can bring some toughness to our team. We need a little more depth back there to kind of get over the hump, and we've got to find some of that in Legend Roberton, who's an unproven backup center who will play a lot early. And then we have a young man, Elijah Thomas, who's a talented guy that's sitting out until, around Christmas because he was a late transfer. So feel like we're still going to be rounding our team into shape come early ACC play with the addition of Eli later. But at the same time, really feel good about our perimeter play.
Phil Kornblut, South Carolina Radio Network. Can you talk about the two transfer guards and what you saw from them last year as they sat out and what your expectations are?
Well, last year, they were part of the scout team, and it's always different when you're playing in practice in purple rather than orange. Coach Odom's over here. He can attest to that. Guys are when you're on the scout team and you turn it over, it's not that big a deal. When you turn to orange and it's live basketball and you turn it over, the head coach isn't too happy. So there's an adjustment, but both those guys are talented players. Shelton Mitchell's a point guard with very good size, 6'3", good passer, good vision, good speed. Guy who's worked really hard, over the last year and a half to improve his outside shooting. I think that is getting better by the day. And then Marquise Reed is a very good complement to him. He's a guy that's kind of got an old school game. He's just a scorer. He can make threes, but he really would just as soon drive the ball into the paint. He can make runners, floaters. He's got an uncanny knack to make tough two-point shots. And while oftentimes in college basketball these days, the analysts don't want you taking two-point shots, he has the kind of talent that you got to let him go. And so I really like those two guys because their games are different. They complement each other well, and both are proven players after their freshman year.
All right, Brownell from Today in Charlotte. More from him coming up. But, look, they got their top three scorers from last year's team coming back pro and the addition of Marquise Reed and Shelton Mitchell. The word on Reed was in practice last year as he was sitting out his transfer year. He was unstoppable in those games. Terrific shooter, big-time scorer. There'll be no shortage of places to go to get points for Clemson. Where they're going to have to worry is rebounding and defending the rim and staying out of foul trouble inside.
That's the key to rebounding. I think probably if you're Clemson, and I don't mean this to be trite, but I do think this, that sometimes if you're Clemson, there are times you're not going to avoid it. You walk into Cameron Indoor Stadium, you got two fouls before you can breathe.
Can we ever outgrow
No, because I want
ACC?
people to know that's the way the game is officiated. I can see it. I can see that.
How about Stevie Wonder?
Ray
Him
Charles actually cannot see that.
Yes, he can see it.
All right, we got to hit a break. We're coming back with Mason Zandy, the big left tackle for the Gamecocks, and Brent Venables, Clemson's defensive coordinator. Cubs up early on the Indians, 1-0 in Cleveland. Back moment. sounds like bar mitzvah music. Something you play at the party. Yes, indeed. You ever been bar mitzvah, K-Mac?
Have not.
Yeah. You could have come to mind, but that would have been back in 1969.
That would have been an impressive feat on my part.
You know, they were erecting Pedro the weekend of at south of the border. They were erecting the big Pedro. Sits outside south of the border. That's where my bar mitzvah party was.
That's what that is?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And it was being built in half of it was up on that Friday, and they put the rest of it up on Saturday.
You never sausage such a place. What, you never sausage?
That's good.
Such a place?
Yeah. They have great billboards because they own the billboard company. That's why they had billboards 300 miles down I-95. They own the company.
They got billboards outside of Jacksonville.
Yeah. Do people still stop there?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, they built an exit there on off 95 just for that purpose, to service south of the border. So, hey, relax on and off the field with Founders Federal Credit Union, located in the heart of Gamecock country. Founders Russell House location is available to help you with all your financial needs. Plus, they have a cash and check accepting ATM on ATM Row behind the Russell House. Visit relaxjoinfounders.com to see if you qualify for membership. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA. Tell you a guy who's as big as 2 ATMs stacked on top of each other, Mason Zandy. Who knows? He might be an ATM here in a few months if the NFL likes him. K-Mac, you had a chance to talk with him the other day.
Yeah, he's a good kid. He has a great story, of course. His parents immigrated from Iran, and he's made a name for himself on the offensive line and is a pleasure to talk to. And, of course, the first question has to be about the new guy he's blocking.
Swagger, he come into your first start, you throw two impressive touchdowns and relatively no mistakes. That's a big deal for a kid that's still supposed to be a senior in high school. So he's got a little bit of swagger to him right now, and keep riding that hot hand.
Is it safe to say that we'll see more of the playbook this Saturday? Maybe you guys had something back last week, you think?
I don't know. We put it in our game plan for this week, and we're going from there. I don't know if Coach Roper's going to open it up or not, but we'll see.
Mason, you guys have talked about getting a little better every week and working on the mistakes and things like that. How much does a victory kind of validate that you guys are heading in the right direction?
Well, it certainly validates our point in a public's perspective. I can come in here every week and tell you guys that we're getting better, and if we're not winning, you're going to find it pretty hard to believe me. But to go out there and put up 34 points, that really just kind of, from a public's perspective, is like, okay, yeah, maybe they are getting better. Maybe the offense is starting to click. But and that's what we're going to continue to do. I'm not saying we're not comfortable by any means. We're still working, just hard, trying to improve just little bits at a time, and eventually it'll all add up.
Have things been a little more spirited the last couple of days of practice, things like that, because you did?
Right. I mean, I fully agree. People say, it's not all about winning. It's about having fun. Well, fun's in winning. So yeah, of course, it's a little bit more spirited when you get a win, and against a pretty good UMass team. People underestimate them. They're 1-6, but they were a good team.
Looking ahead to this week against Tennessee, the difference in competition for Jake. Obviously, he'll see some things Saturday that he didn't see. How do you think mentally he'll be able to grasp that and make those adjustments?
I think Jake's an extremely bright guy. He's obviously coach's son. He understands the game than most guys his age. So I think Jake's just going to take it back. He's going to get the game plan. We're going to go with it.
What do you see from Tennessee's defense? What do you see from them on paper?
They're a pretty good squad. I ain't gonna lie to you. They're really talented up front. Their front sevens is a pretty good group.
Have you seen a team that's more Jekyll and Hyde, because they've had some slow starts and all of a sudden they kind of get going in the second half in the games even they've won or games they've lost? I guess how important is it for you guys to get off to a quick start and hopefully get some confidence?
Oh, it's extremely important. It's always important to start fast, regardless of who your opponent is. It gives the team momentum. The defense feeds off that. The crowd feeds off that. And it's just a chain reaction. So starting fast, but finishing fast is a big emphasis for us this week.
Okay, big Mason Zandy protecting the left side for Jake Bentley. He'll have to play well. Those defensive ends for Tennessee are outstanding. So can they keep him upright and give him time to complete the play. That will be crucial for South Carolina. Now, to the upstate, Clemson getting ready for Florida State. Brent Venables, another big task on his hands, getting his defense ready for still a very explosive Florida State offense, averaging 30 points per game. They got the great quarterback, receiver, running back, complementary players as well. And so, as he told us yesterday, it's been a lot of work getting things together for Florida State.
Just trying to exhaust, every moment that we can leading up to the game, give the guys an opportunity to be successful. If you see something right there at the end.
It seems like Florida State, they've been pretty unapologetically pretty weak in the first quarter. How do you caution your players against things might be going really well early on, but FSU tends to get themselves?
Man, I don't know. I don't really I don't talk about something like that. I have too much respect for the game and the opponent to think that we're just going to go out there and roll all over them, whether it's early or the whole game. It's a great point, and I've been in that position, a number of times during the course of the game when things are coming easy, and so that's when you just, you get in people's faces and trying to scare the heck out of them. Keep them on edge, keeping them focused, and that's very natural. When you have if success comes too easy, it's easy to let your guard down. But Florida State is very talented, super well coached, and they've been there, done that. Just go to all the scenarios, and they have done remarkably well when their backs are against the wall, and when they figure out. Sometimes they're figuring out how you're playing them, and they have answers, to what you're doing. So a prideful, tough program that's had incredible country, over the last 10 years. So, that's not a real big surprise. We don't, again, go in planning on, we expect a fist fight, for 60 minutes and to get their best shot from the get-go.
Last year, Dalvin Cook had a big game, 9 yards to carry, 194 yards, yet you only allowed 13 points and 361 yards total offense. How were you able to limit them despite?
Well, we gave up a couple big runs, a couple chunk plays will do that to the numbers. And we got settled in and played better. And, so that's really, I think, the story within the story was the couple of early chunk plays, and then we got settled in and started playing better team defense.
When you turn on the film, do you see any similarities between Francois and Lamar Jackson?
In some ways, very poised, mature, good decision makers, and big, strong, talented guys, well coached, quarterback driven offense. So a lot more similarities than there are differences.
How have things changed since you were down there first time in 2012 on defense? You gave up 47 points.
Golly, thank you for reminding me how horrible we've done. Just when I start getting my mojo and feeling good, I know how bad we've done. No, it's all right. We've got, we have, got a better grasp both sides, me of our players and of our coaches, and them of me, and then we've developed a culture and recruited better. We got more depth, quality depth, and year to year everything changes though, and so we're in a different place, but so are they.
All right, Brent Venables, again, Florida State, Dalvin Cook yards a carry, over 128 yards a game. Francis, the freshman quarterback, he's got 10 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 268 is Travis Rudolph. He's got 32 catches, averages over 15 yards a catch. Their great defensive end, DeMarcus Walker's got 8.5 sacks. Can Clemson's offensive tackles, still young but talented, can they handle him? Yeah, there's plenty of reason to go into this game worried, not underconfident. I think Clemson should go in thinking and believing they're going to win, but there's no reason to take this one for granted. Be right back.
Chris Ekstrand from the Durham Herald-Sun. Sure. Jerron Blossom game, I wanted to know if you could detail for us.
Well, number one, he's always been a terrific athlete.
Cubs still up on Cleveland, 1-0, top of the second in Cleveland. South Carolina Forestry Commission reminds you that insects and diseases can be moved hundreds of miles in firewood and threaten forests and campsites and neighborhoods and parks. Help protect the trees you love by purchasing firewood at or near where you burn it. For more information, visit don'tmovefirewood.org. And this reminder from our friends at South Carolina Electric Cooperative. You know, overnight, your house doesn't use a lot of energy, but when you wake up, you cook, you shower, you do things around the house, that power need increases. They call it the peak. On days of really high demand, the peaks cost everybody more money. Of course, same thing happens when you come home and crank things back up. So how do you beat it? Sign up for your electric co-op's Beat the Peak program online. They'll send you an alert on days that they expect a big peak. All you have to do is use a little less energy. Delay the dishes, turn down that thermostat, hold off on washing the clothes. Doing some of that will help you save money. So check it out online. Help beat the peak. Here's the website, energysmartsc.org/beat the peak. Learn something and save some moolah. All right, great day in Charlotte today. Really enjoyed it. Terrific listening to ACC basketball coaches and hearing what they had to say and watching the other media do their thing. Of course, we were most focused on Brad Brownell from Clemson. So here's more from the Tigers head coach, and he's answering a question here about Jerron Blossomgame, who could have gone to the pros, could have been a first-round draft pick, some say, decided to come back. He's already graduated, so he'll be a graduate student. Brownell was asked about how it all worked out that Blossomgame decided to come back for another year in college.
Well, number one, he's always been a terrific athlete, and that's what we saw when we recruited him. Ironically, he was probably the fourth or fifth best player on one of those AAU teams. And, you know, we got to know Jerron by getting him over to campus a couple of different times. And the reason I signed him is because I knew he was a terrific athlete, and getting to know him, I knew he was a hard worker. And that never changed. You know, in his senior year of high school in April, he had the Kevin Ware injury where he broke the bone in his leg. It came out. He actually had to go through 2 surgeries. He didn't just have one. He had 2 surgeries in his freshman year. But he was always pushing to get back. Super competitive guy, and you saw that early on. Now his jump shot was very erratic. You know, his ball handling and passing was probably average or below average as a freshman. Both those things started to improve his sophomore year. You could just see that he was starting to get it. But he's really a self-made player. Like Jerron has to work at things. It doesn't come easy as some things do for him. He's a guy that's played inside, outside. He'll do whatever you ask him to do. Really, as a young player in our program, he was a big rebound per minute guy and defender and physicality and toughness and hustle. And last year, he kind of emerged into more of a skill player. He's a guy that could make shots from the perimeter. He's a guy that could read and make some passes. You know, he's still working to master those skills where he can create more shots and more scoring opportunities for others. But he's still extremely competitive, unbelievable work ethic, and a guy that plays the game with the kind of confidence you need when you play against the kind of players that we play against in this league.
As you mentioned, this is year 7, and the school has poured a ton of money into Little John and in support of your program. One NCAA tournament bid in that time. Are you feeling a sense of urgency to get there this year?
No, I think, you know, a big part of the reason why that facility is built is because of the time, energy, and effort that I spent over the last 7 years to help make that happen in terms of fundraising, you name it. When I got to Clemson, we really didn't have a basketball aspect or booster club. We had nothing. And through some guys in IPTAY and myself, we spent more hours than you can imagine to try to not only raise money for the program, but also you have to raise enough interest and spirit in men's basketball to the point 60 seats on the floor and you're asking people to pay, you know, $250,000, that those got to be filled then. And if you're going to put a club level up here with 400 seats and you're asking people to pay $25,000 to $50,000 for the right to buy those seats, that you got to have people that are going to do that. And that wouldn't have happened 5 years ago at Clemson basketball. And part of the reason it happened is because of the efforts that a lot of us and my staff did to help make that happen. So I think we've done a lot for Clemson basketball to make this happen. We're a big part of the reason why Little John and the Swan Pavilion have come about. We've been a very good team in this league. The last 3 years, we're 8th in wins. So we're a middle-of-the-pack ACC team that needs to get to the NCAA tournament. It's our goal. It's what we're pushing to do. We're not going to shy away from that. But we've had one losing season in 6 years in this league. There aren't many schools that can say that. So we're doing some pretty good things, and with the help of a new facility and energy and positive momentum in our program, I think the best is yet to come.
Hey, Brad Brownell, can't wait to go up October 11th for the season opener against Georgia in that new arena and see the new refurbished Little John Coliseum. All accounts, they did a fabulous job. Looking forward to seeing it. And Sure, it's going to be a great location for Tiger basketball. They got a good team. Fans will be there. They don't have to travel 30 miles by bus the night before a home game and stay in a hotel in Greenville, then go to the Bon Secours Arena. They got their place right there on campus. So that's all very good.
They played some good ball in Bon Secours.
They did. They turned that into a favorable home court.
Beat Notre Dame and a few other people in that arena away from home.
All right, let me remind you of a couple of things. First of all, on our Facebook page on Sports Talk, which is what is it? Sports Talk. What is our Facebook page?
Sports Talk Radio Network.
Sports Talk Radio Network. Okay, you know, so I don't go there very much.
Yeah, clearly.
But anyway, we have for you with a big Clemson game coming up. Big Clemson game against Florida State. We have another beautiful football to give away to a Clemson fan or any fan. You could be a Gamecock fan if you want the football for give to a Clemson fan. Go in there and make a prediction on the Florida State game. The closest prediction will win the football. It's a commemorative football from the results of every game and other information. It's a nice football. Perfect for getting autographs and things of that nature. We gave one away earlier this season for the Louisville game. So we're going to give another one away, but go to our Facebook page, Sports Talk Radio Network. You have to like us, right?
Yeah, you have to like us on the page and then comment on the picture of the football with the score.
Yeah. And, I'm told that, is that tomorrow night? Jeff Pearlman, who has written a book on Brett Favre called Gunslinger, is going to be with us tomorrow night. So we look forward to having him with us. Excerpts of that are on Sports Illustrated or in Sports Illustrated.
Yeah. He's the one that when he was with Sports Illustrated, John Rocker, those infamous comments.
He was the
Pearlman
one.
was the reporter that he was talking to.
I want to get to a few of these comments here on the football. If I can get the stupid thing to open, I want to give some of the predictions. I can't get the darn thing to open, K-Mac. What's the deal?
Know how to work Facebook.
See if you can get it open real quick. Don't forget to the what the phone number.
Yes.
I have to catch myself. What the?
I don't know why we made it so risky.
803-509-2705. 803-509-2705. Call in, leave your comments, and we'll play them on the air. If they're good, we're not going to play junk.
We'll play the junk.
You like the junk?
If it's funny,
don't encourage junk. Okay.
If it's
if it's not funny,
and please don't share your bathroom visits with famous people. We did that tonight.
There's a lot of people that are sharing their bathroom visits with famous people.
We got a couple of those. You'll share your bathroom visits with us with
everybody's
famous people.
picking Clemson here.
That's
by the
fine
way.
as well. Scores.
Clemson 38, Florida State 28. 28-20 Clemson. Oh, this one says FSU 72, Clem sucks 0.
Ooh.
Sounds like a diehard Tiger fan.
All right, Phil Corncoot is probably pissed that Clemson